Here we go then, welcome to Matchday Live, and a famous rivalry returns with Leeds United travelling down to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea in the FA Cup fifth round, a match that will be settled on the night, be it in 90 minutes extra time or penalties. We'll be with you all the way here on Matchday Live and wherever you're watching in the world. It's great to have you. Keep your comments coming in, WhatsApp, social media, wherever you are joining us from. Fantastic to have you there. Full audio commentary coming up with our commentary team of Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo, who knows a lot about both teams, of course. And joining me in the Matchday Live studio tonight for LUTV is Michael Bridges. Michael Bridges, what a game we have. I'm very excited. Friday was fantastic. Now it's cup action and it's a massive rivalry and it's an exciting one.
It certainly is. I mean, to come off that Friday night win against Leicester, you've got the FA Cup tie, the players are buzzing, you know, the confidence is high, and like you say, they don't come any bigger in the FA Cup. Just listen to Archie Gray after the match the other day when he scored the goal in the game, and I said to him, you're looking forward to this one at Stamford Bridge, and his face just lit up. So you know exactly what it means to the players. It's a big cup tie, and why not have a good cup run? And
if you're going to go and take on a Premier League team with hundreds of millions of pounds worth of talent, make sure you're doing it in a good run of form, and that is certainly where we're at the moment. The boys will be have travelled down there in the finest form you could possibly hope for, and they'll be feeling confident to give this a go.
Got to be. Like you say, since the Christmas, the turn of the new year, our form has been absolutely sensational, and it's had to be to try and keep up the chase for them top two places in the Championship. Beating Leicester once again, that was huge, but it's just the momentum. So when you're on that rich vein of form, you know, the camp is bubbly, the smiles are on the faces, the relaxed atmosphere, and you see, you go into any game, it doesn't matter who you are playing against, you go into there with that full of confidence attitude. And I take it the Leicester City that were playing last night against Premier League opposition in the FA Cup against Bournemouth, they made 9 changes to their team. The commentary were giving it, saying it's like a reserve team, but what they have, the confidence doesn't just spread between the 11 starters, it goes through the whole camp, and players are relishing the opportunity. So we'll make changes tonight for our team. No doubt the players that are stepping into that to take that opportunity, they're full of confidence as well, because you want to be on this bandwagon. And just watching the players walk in, it's a good sight, because they're all smiling, they all look relaxed.
That is the case, isn't it? Smiling, you know, Connor Roberts, he starts there, and we'll come on to the team in just a moment, but that's what you want really coming into a game like this. Chelsea, on the other hand, kind of the complete opposite really, given their League Cup defeat final at the weekend, playing extra time, which they would have wanted to avoid doing in the first place, but especially if you're going to lose a match, you don't want that extra 30 minutes. How will they be approaching this? An important opportunity for them if they want to progress and win something this season, but what will their mindset be like?
Well, my wife had a go at me the other day when I celebrated Chelsea 0-0 at full time, and I went, yes, get in. She went, it's 0-0, who are you cheering for? I said, Chelsea are going to extra time. We are playing them in the midweek during in the FA Cup. I said, so that's good. They're going to be, you know, legs will be done. Yes, they can make changes, but in the manner that they played and performed in that extra time period, it was no good. And they were playing against a very confident Liverpool team, but they had youngsters in, and losing that game the way they did, confidence will be down. They've had a turn of form since the new year. I've got to say that, because early on under Pochettino, he's trying to get his game plan across. He's had injuries, but they didn't get it. And I don't think the mindset of them players and the confidence is there at this moment in time. They haven't bought into what Pochettino is trying to bring, and I rate him as a manager. I've seen how he operates, and you know, the success he had at Tottenham, success he had at Southampton as well. This is probably his biggest challenge that he's ever had, because he's got the quality of players. They've spent all this money, but they just have not got a togetherness about this squad of players. So we should be going there full of confidence and hoping that we can get something from this.
We had a good time here on Friday night, did we? Probably a good time to mention, get your live reaction to this. The draw for the quarterfinals has just been made ahead of tonight's game. It would be a home tie against Leicester if we made it through this round. That's just been drawn now. So we had a nice time here on Friday night, didn't we?
That.
And a bit of a
team that would be twice this season already,
right? And a bit of a carrot, knowing as well that, and I mean, look at us getting ahead of ourselves. This is the worst thing you can do.
It's not. We've got to be confident.
But you've got to be confident if you can. Leicester at home. You know, quarterfinals is 1 game away from Wembley. There is a heck of a carrot dangling here.
There certainly is. To get a home tie, if in the next round, that is, you know, whether the players have been notified about that, I don't know. I'm sure they'll be fully focused on getting the job done. They'll be out there warming up, but the other players on the outer, the staff will know about it. So there isn't a massive incentive there, knowing that we've beat them twice this season, and they will want to come back to Elland Road, by the way, because the atmosphere here, Leeds United fans, I mean, it went global, singing I Predict a Riot, Kaiser Chiefs song after the game straight away. 10 minutes, the fans were there after the game, celebrating with the players because it was such a monumental win.
We're going to talk team news in just a minute because there have been changes for both teams. Can I just apologise? We're obviously 6 minutes into Matchday Live and we've already said the words semi-final at Wembley. Do apologise. Totally blame us. But there you go. If you can't get excited at this stage of the season, Bridgie,
one game at a time.
One game at a time. Exactly that. There you go. Ever the professional. Okay, we'll talk team news about tonight and so much to get through. Wherever you're joining us here on Matchday Live, it's going to be an absolutely huge one. So let's head down to Stamford Bridge and get the thoughts of our commentary team. Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Here we are at Stamford Bridge. Good to be back again. Reminds us of those Premier League days, obviously. But this is a big FA Cup tie that we're looking forward to here. Team news first. Have to say, Tony, there are changes to the Leeds starting 11, but it's still got a pretty strong look to it, hasn't it?
It most certainly has, yes. I think it's important to go out there and really take the game to Chelsea. But at the same time, we know what's on the horizon. So 3 games in 6 days is huge, and they're extremely important. And so anyone that has got a slight problem, we have to nurse them through this period. So understandable, there's 1 or 2 missing, but it's still, you're right, looks very strong.
Big night for Matthew Joseph, isn't it? Who gets his start up front.
Fantastic. I thought he played great at Plymouth. He's a very different type of striker. When you come on for 10 minutes at a time, I think it's difficult to show what you can do. You try things that you probably shouldn't do. So here he starts again. And interesting to see how he plays against what is obviously a very good outfit.
For Ethan Ampadu, we expect, I think, in formation sense, a little switch again tonight, back into the midfield role. Would that be right?
I think so, yep. He'll just drop in there. We know his passing ability. An extra incentives for him, of course, coming back to Chelsea as well to show what he's about. But he's had a fantastic season so far. He can switch back and forward. But at the back, I thought he's played great because suddenly we have that range of passing, which we might not have with other players.
Trip back for Stamford Bridge for you as well, obviously, here. Big night this one for Chelsea, isn't it, given what happened at the weekend?
You're absolutely right, and that's why I talk about us enjoying it, because they're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be tough for them. Are we going to get a reaction? Are we going to see that poor Chelsea, or are we going to see that good Chelsea? I have no idea. They have no idea. So we can put them under pressure nice and early. Be interesting to see, but they've made a few changes as well, but even so, their team must be worth 5, 6, 7, 8 times what our team is worth. That doesn't matter. It's what happens out there that matters.
It's a big night, you can tell that, because the rock music is absolutely booming out here. Stand by for more of the same once the game gets underway.
Yeah, there you go, the DeRigo derby getting ready to go. They mentioned there in terms of the team news, there are 5 changes. One worth mentioning is Georginio Ruta misses out tonight with a slight injury. But in terms of the team that's going to play tonight, they mentioned Ethan Ampadu back at Stamford Bridge for him as well, and a move probably into midfield. Archie Gray, who was so influential, and he moved from the right to the left, will probably find himself in midfield today. Yeah,
I think he'll be the link up in that midfield. So Ampadu, one of the youngest players to get his debut for Chelsea, youngest player for Leeds United in the Gray family to get his opportunity. And I heard Eddie Gray talking today on the radio, and he was saying that Archie's had a good season, but he'd love to see him back in that midfield role where he gets his opportunity today. Now I think you've got Archie Gray and Ampadu, like Tony alluded to there, he's got a point to prove to Chelsea. He'll fancy his chances against Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez and think, why did Chelsea get rid of me? I'm up there. You're talking about 200 million plus in that midfield. And Archie Gray is absolutely going to relish this opportunity, and I'm delighted to see him in there. And yes, it means changes in other areas, but we've seen Roberts came in at the weekend, the other night on Friday night, got the goal. I spoke to him in the podcast during the week, and he was full of confidence. He said he's come here to help the team, not only on the field but also off the field, and mentoring and getting Leeds promoted to where they want to be. So he spoke so well, and I'm just so happy to see this midfield battle unfold. Yeah, we're around 20 minutes away from kick-off. All the Matchday build-up for you here on Matchday Live, of course, for Leeds United against Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round. We do know what the quarterfinals would entail, and it would be the team we beat here on Friday night in the Sky Bet Championship, the team sitting currently top of the Championship table, Leicester. And that Friday night was a really, really special night here at Elland Road. The place was bouncing, and that last 10 minutes was like scenes we haven't seen here for quite some time. Yeah, and disappointing the goal that we actually conceded from the set play. It was Fass, who was absolutely unmarked at the far post. I think there was a bit of a mismatch with Willie not to either man marking him or turn his back on the ball, and just didn't see the reaction from the set play because it was a near post flick on. Went through the 6-yard box, and Fass reacted as best he possibly could. So that was putting Leicester 1-0 up, and I'm thinking, well, how are the reactions going to be? Because we found ourselves behind a number of times this season, And what Leeds United and we have found a way is the resolve to get back in games, either a draw or come away with the points. Daniel Farke made a big decision. He brought on Roberts into right back and he moved Archie Gray to left back. They were kind of playing a wing back situation because Gruev went and filled in between the two centre halves, and what it created a massive overload for players to get numbers forward. So when Connor Roberts scored the goal to make it 1-1, Archie Gray's inside the penalty area as well. So I'm thinking that's both fullbacks for the first time that were able to have licence to go and play high and wide. So Daniel Farke not only made the changes, but a little shift in the system that Leicester couldn't handle, and it set the tone for the rest of the game, because what happened, this got the fans back behind the team, and they never stopped chanting before that, by the way, to get the leads. The players reacted to that, the fans then reacted to the goal, and it was just a combination of absolute quality from then on, and we dominated the last 15-20 minutes when we looked so underdone with chances created before that. It
was just the point where Jorginho Ruta started to get himself into the game, really, and create opportunities. I mean, the finish from Connor Roberts was so cool, so assured. He was the calmest guy there when he was celebrating. Contrast those celebrations with Archie Gray. First goal for Leeds, if it's going to be eventually given to him. I mean, what a moment there, and the place went potty.
Well, it's just, I mean, the confidence for a young lad to have the mindset to do this in such an important game. You said Rutte did the hold-up play. All them players then, you know, Archie thinks, I'll shift the ball, and you know what, I'm going to have a shot. And if you don't have a shot and it's not going on target, what do? You ride your luck, and that's what happened. Fast put his leg out, and we got you make your own luck in this game. You know, you've got to take your chances at one end of the field, and like you say, if you don't shoot, and that was a huge moment for Archie Gray and the whole Gray family, to be honest with you. Whether he gets it with his name on it, I don't care. I'll give it to him after the game when we chatted to him.
Yeah, we spoke to him, and it was so obvious how important a moment it was for him personally as well as for the team, and worth saying, we're seeing the third goal here, but worth saying as well with Archie Gray, the confidence that Daniel Farke showed. Say, actually, I'm going to put you haven't played here before, I'm going to put you left back because that's what the team needs.
And that just shows the trust that he has in these players at this moment in time, and what happens, the players react to that. What I loved about the last goal, when we got the free kick on the edge of the box that Dan James scored, we went 2-1 up against Leicester at home. Now, quite easily we could have sat back and try to defend that lead. The goal actually came from the free kick that we won the ball with 5 players pressing in the mid to final third against Leicester to win the ball back, to then create an overload, and they had to foul Rutte on the edge of the area. So for me, that again was just another massive tick for Leeds United to say, we weren't going to sit back and absorb the pressure. We were going to go and you know, and when you smell blood, you want to keep going, and that spreads confidence for me in the ability and the belief in this team.
Yeah, Dan James gets a chance from the start tonight. Obviously, he's still on his way back from injury. Came on and made an impact. Connor Roberts came on and made an impact. He will start tonight as well. Pat's on the bench tonight. But real opportunities for players to get stuck here and try and create what will be a memorable result again.
Healthy competition for places spreads throughout the team. Connor Roberts has come on. He's done a job. He scored a goal. He gets his opportunity in the FA Cup against a Premier League team. You know, he's come from a Premier League team in Burnley. He wants to get back and see where he is, either with Leeds or back with another team. He's up for it. He's got the understanding with Dan James. They play together at the international level, and Dan James is a player that has been probably having one of the best seasons I've ever seen him have, with assists and goals. He's missed out because Willie Gnonto's been playing well, Somerville, so it's healthy competition. He gets his opportunity against some of the best players in the world, and it's going to be interesting to see the level where the players are at that have been here last season when we went out of the Premier League, because we had a massive result against Chelsea here. It was a 3-0 win. And it'll be interesting to see where the players, what they've learned in going up against this game tonight.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Connor Roberts. What an impact he had on Friday night. He'll be looking to do more of the same. And of course, the official Leeds United podcast will be released later this week. And it stars this week, coincidentally and very conveniently, one Connor Roberts. Here's a little taste of what's on the way.
I did, for like a split second, just have a little, just like moment where I just think this is really loud. Like, it's going off here.
This is the official Leeds United podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the many heroes from Friday night. It's the Leeds new boy, Connor Roberts. How are you, mate?
All good, boss. Yeah, settled in nicely. Been here obviously a few weeks now, and a brilliant night to kind of introduce myself on Friday and come off the bench a couple of times. So looking forward to the next, 12, 13, 14 games, whatever's left.
Con, I've got to say, mate, the atmosphere, I've been at a lot of games as an ex-player, I've played at Elland Road in front of some massive European nights. The atmosphere, when not so much when obviously you came on, but after you got the goal and after the lads went on that thing, the I Predict a Riot's music, the atmosphere. Did you expect anything like that?
I think when you're in the game, you don't realise quite how good it was. Speaking to my wife afterwards, she's obviously been to watch me numerous times for playing for different clubs, playing for my country and stuff like that. And she said that it was the best atmosphere that she's experienced. And I think the ball up, I can't remember if it was after I scored or after Archie scored, ball went out for a throw in, and obviously I was running to get the ball, and I did for a split second just have a little moment where I just think this is really loud, it's going off here. And obviously after the game was brilliant as well. And as footballers, as fans, as supporters of any sport, you want to be involved in nights like that. And I'm sure that every Leeds fan that was there and watch it on TV maybe will remember that night as a special one in years to come, hopefully.
All Leeds, aren't we? The official Leeds United podcast.
So I've seen a tweet because one of my friends liked it, or he sent it to me, I can't remember. It was something along the lines of Connor Roberts doesn't know whether he wants to start a scrap or something else. And it was that's me, to be honest. I just want to get out there and wear my heart on my sleeve and do as best I can. And if that's trying to fight the whole team, then it's trying to fight the whole team.
Listening on together.
What's that like when you're on the bench and you're watching the game from the dugout and you can see it's not going well? You can see that Leicester are on top of us. We're struggling to find passes. Are you just itching to get on at that point? You're just I can change this.
I'm not sure. I imagine for attacking players, a lot of the time it is. For me, it's a little bit different. Obviously, I'm a defender, so when I go on, it's a case of trying to get the people around me to play better, or to create a moment, whether that be a tackle, a quick free kick, just a moment where you go on the overlap and you get a nice ball in or whatever, just something that kind of lifts everyone. I think we've still got a chance, we're still in this game, and obviously a goal is the best, so it was brilliant to get that, just get myself in that area and manage to score. But when I was going on, it was a case of let's just try and kind of raise the energy that little bit more. Obviously DJ come on just before, and he was lighting it up a little bit, making forward runs, being direct and getting the crowd up a little bit, shall we say. And luckily for me, a goal helped towards winning the game in the end.
This is the official Leeds United podcast.
Michael Bridges, tracksuit for the pod, business for the studio.
FA Cup Day.
FA Cup Day. He's put a jacket on and everything. I'll tell you what I found was really interesting there about Connor Roberts is him talking about a player coming in and the impact that the crowd had is felt by the players. And you've been out there and felt it. I mean, we were in the studio on Friday night. There's reinforced glass there and we can feel the place shaking. But for a player out there, I think it's just universally understood, whether you're a Leicester player, manager, fan, Leeds player, manager, fan, that the crowd played their part in that last 10 minutes.
Well, you said it's reinforced glass. I did actually test it the other night, because when I was hitting it and celebrating with the fans, it was absolutely tremendous, and it did stay normal. But like you say, I've been here European nights, AC Milan, beating AC Milan at home in the Champions League. The atmosphere that night, that occasion, that'll stay with me till I go to my grave. The other night, beating Leicester, I've never seen, it was incredible to be part of and witness it. So Connor Roberts spoke very well about it there. He said his family had been up, his father came up as well when he's talking on the podcast, and they say that they experienced, he's been to a lot of clubs, international football. It was just a special occasion, and we had every right to be. We're beating, you beat top of the championship and a title race contender. We just want to be in that 1 or 2, but it meant so much. And obviously when players talk about Elland Road, that's why you fall in love with it. My kids have fallen in love with football since they've returned to England after being in Australia with Elland Road. Well, we were getting beat off Man City 4-0, and my son said, "Dad, they're still singing. Do they know they're getting beat?" I was like, "Son, this is Elland Road." So that is what it means. And it's lovely to hear other players that are coming on loan that have had international football and other clubs in the Premier League that speak so fondly about the fan base here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Hopefully more of the same on the way. You've played, of course, in big games against Chelsea. You're going back a few years, Bridget. You won't mind me saying, but
thank you.
99-2000 season where Leeds were in that rich vein of form, and you were part of that team as well down at Stamford Bridge, and a couple of great goals. Stephen McPhail doing the business.
McPhail got a double. I came off after 42 minutes. Now, coincidentally, guess what it was? It was an injury. Shock, horror. Harry Kewell destroyed Frank Leboeuf in this game. And he got so angry, he got red carded. But just have a look at this celebration. McPhail scored the goal. The highlight for me was getting on the bus after the game and seeing Gary Kelly jump over the pile of players twice. And nobody saw it until we got on the bus and watched the highlights of it. And the second, again, Harry Kewell doing his stuff there. It was the little cutback from Boyer, but it was the quality of finish from Steve McPhail. It was almost like a pass. He never blasted it. He looked for that firm pass. And it was just a marvellous night at Stamford Bridge. So I didn't actually witness much of the after half time, but thankfully I was on the bench again, fully iced up to witness a 2-0 win over Chelsea team at the time, who had a very, very special team. Yeah,
a little bit of handbags there. Leboeuf getting sent off. Like you say, there were some players in that team, weren't they? And Vial is the manager at the time, and the free kick that just sails its way through, and Eric Bakker kind of jumping over it. Yeah. And what was it like at that time, picking up results like that and going on the road? And it must have been a great time.
Again, this is what I talk about when you talk about a team being on a run of form, and as a collective, I mean a squad. So McPhail was on the outer. He got his opportunity to play in that game. He scored 2 goals. We had Matty Jones in there, another international Welsh player that was here. Didn't play regular, but got his opportunity in that game. So we were running on an unbelievable run of form, which spread throughout the team. It was never about that 11. It was about that squad of players. The camaraderie that we had on and off the field was magic. And looking back at them highlights, obviously it brings back fond memories of what we actually had. And that's what I was talking about at the start, about this team now in Leeds United going to Stamford Bridge, full of confidence, full of belief, people getting their opportunities. And when you're in a good, rich vein of form like that, anything can happen.
And the great thing about the FA Cup, of course, is that the backing from the Leeds fans will be bigger than it would normally be in an allocation down there at Stamford Bridge. They're going to be backed in
how many we
thousands and number. I don't know whether it's maybe 5,000-6,000, something along those lines. But that's going to make an impact as well. And you would also think that the Chelsea fans potentially not going there with the fondest memories from the weekend, given what's happened to them in the cup final. Won't necessarily take much. Hopefully a good start for Leeds, and you can see that balance just changing in terms of the noise from the fans.
Pressure's on the Chelsea players, the team. They're at home. The fans are still disgruntled after the performance in extra time in their last match in the League Cup final against Liverpool. Pochettino is looking for a reaction from his players to see what kind of characters they're going to show. Or is he going to get the response from them? Are they going to be sulking? There'll be new players coming in. What's their mentality like? So we are going there not expecting to win the game. Premier League team, they've just been in the final of a cup. We've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. And we just know if you go there with a little bit of early doors and get stuck in with a few nasty little tackles early on.
Here he comes.
Well, you remember the FA Cup final back in 1970?
Well, we were talking about this. I think it's actually the first time Leeds and Chelsea have met in the FA Cup since that day. Infamous replay, which was over the road at Old Trafford, not from memory, because I wasn't around at that point, but from having seen it. And one of those games that, it's unrecognisable to modern football.
Could have finished 4-3 to the players on the field, the amount of red cards that should have been given.
It's astonishing. I suspect it won't be quite like
I don't want to say that, but what I'm saying is when you're going up against a team that are just under the cosh, they're at home, the first 15-20 minutes of this game is huge for us to make a statement, to nullify, get their fans against them, because they'll still be disgruntled from what's going on, and don't let the players have a reaction. So I'm going to go 2-1 here,
In 90 minutes?
I'm going to say extra time.
2-1 after extra time. Definitely not penalties, though.
No, couldn't take it.
No one's interested in penalties. I
want to go home.
Right, here we go then. It is FA Cup action on Matchday Live, with a place in the quarterfinals up for grabs. That will be against Leicester City at Elland Road, but a lot of work to be done before then. Your commentary team will take you through the action, Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo. But before we do that, let's hear from a player going back to his former stomping ground and looking to make an impression in midfield tonight. Here's the thoughts of Ethan Ampadu.
Well, Ethan, back at Chelsea. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's nice. It's probably something that I might enjoy after the game. Right now, we've come here, we've got a game to play, so that's pretty much a little bit on my mind, trying to make sure we get the win, have a good night.
Where do you put the game in terms of what you've got to do at the moment, where the focus is, I guess, on the Championship currently?
No, I think for tonight, the focus on the FA Cup, the focus on tonight's game. I don't think you can go into any game and not have eyes on that game. Of course, we all understand that what's happening in the Championship at the moment. But right now we've got an FA Cup tie, so all our focus towards that.
There's a lot of pressure on Chelsea, isn't it, tonight?
Well, whether they feel that or not, we know that they are probably wanting a reaction from a disappointing result on the weekend. We know they played well. We know they got a lot of quality, a lot of potential. So we know it's going to be a very difficult game. But yeah, we know that we're going to see a reaction from them.
Teams out here at Stamford Bridge. Much has changed at Chelsea over the years.